That song can only mean one thing. Football, the last weekend of pro football, and we're not done with fantasy football yet, are we, Jeff?
Yep.
Jeff Coruccini, our expert here, and with a special guest.
That's right. This is Russ Bliss, one of my partners at fantasyfootballstarters.com. He's our premier NFL analyst.
He's the brains of the operation.
He really is. Well, we've got Dana and Simon and Brady as well. But I wanted to bring Russ on board because so many viewers have said, I want to meet Russ. He's on the boards all the time, so I wanted to bring Russ on.
Who's this Russ guy? Well, thanks for coming in, Russ.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to tap his brain here in a second.
Yeah.
Tell me, so pretty much fantasy football this season is over or ending this weekend.
Yeah, most of the championships were played last weekend, but then also this weekend is week 17, and some leagues actually go all the way to week 17, which is kind of a bummer because so many players aren't starting because of injuries and things like that.
True. But Russ, that doesn't mean we need to take time off. Too much time.
Oh, there is no time off in fantasy football anymore. It starts up in March with the free agent period. You've got free agency that goes on, like Edgerrin James was a free agent that came to the Arizona Cardinals. Kurt Warner was a free agent that came to the Cardinals. And when you see a team go after a guy and bring him in with the purpose of upgrading their offense, you get a chance to actually see the type of reward that you can get with him.
Yeah, and then right after free agency, you've got the NFL draft.
In April?
And that's a big thing because now you're going to see what players are being drafted and where they're going. A perfect example was Adrian Peterson, who was drafted out of Oklahoma and ended up being drafted by the Vikings. And look, this guy's turned into a perennial stud this year.
So whether they're traded or drafted, you're seeing who NFL teams think are kind of the top.
And they're starting, I mean, and another, so now you've got, like we said, you've got free agency, you've got the draft, and then you go into some of the trades that start to take place. And a great example was, look what happened when New England picked up Wes Welker and Randy Moss. Right. And then, you know, as Bill Belichick started to build that team, which is now undefeated. So you start making these kind of moves, and you can get a good idea of what a team's going to do. And then also, right after that, you've also got the off-season activities, right?
Yes, organized team activities. That's where you get a chance to actually see a lot of players like the undrafted free agents. Marcel Shipp for the Arizona Cardinals, for example, was an undrafted free agent player. He's played in a good role with the Arizona Cardinals and has helped fantasy players throughout the past couple of years be able to get good points out of guys like that. Willie Parker with the Pittsburgh Steelers, he also was undrafted.
Yeah.
Give us an idea of just how big this fantasy football thing is. Well, it gets bigger every year.
Yeah, this year they're saying the Fantasy Sports Trade Association said there's about 12 million people playing NFL fantasy football. And they pay attention to it. I mean, we have people right now that are saying, what am I going to do in the off season? So that's why we keep content up year round so people can stay in tune.
And you might even get me involved here today.
Yes, we're going to talk about that later on, huh, Brian? Maybe next season?
Okay, we'll see what we can do. That's going to be a stretch. I'm going to need both of your help.
You got it.
All right, so are we closing out this year? Are we any more giveaways? Are we doing anything fancy? We're going to hold on.
We've got a great offer. Right now, anybody that watches this segment and emails Jeff at fantasyfootballstarters.com, we are going to give them free access to all of our premium content next year.
Wow.
Yeah, and so that is of about a $30 value. And so if you're watching the segment and you email Jeff at fantasyfootballstarters.com, we're going to give you free access for next year so you have the tools.
An early leg up on the competition.
That's right.
That's what it's all about.
Thanks for coming in. It was great to meet you.
Thank you very much for having me.
Keep this guy in line in the offseason.
He does. He sure does.
All right, Jeff. Thanks for coming in.
You bet.
We had a good season, did we? How'd you guys do, by the way? I'm not going to lay you off the hook here.
I'm playing in a championship this weekend.
You better.
I've won a couple of championships.
Yeah, these guys. Easy for them. Thanks for coming in, guys. Appreciate it. All righty.